Well, thanks for staying with us. Time now for Media Watch with James Creedon.
Good evening, Georgia.
Good evening, James. So, I understand we're starting off with a hunt for information about Republican presidential hopeful Rick Perry's sex life.
Right. It's Friday. It's not exactly the biggest news story of the day, but hey, let's just go with that first.
Go with it.
So, Hustler magazine editor Larry Flynt, now we've all heard of him before, he's offering $1 million. If we have a look here, the Huffington Post has it, but other websites have had it as well for the last 24 hours or so. He's offering $1 million for information on sexual encounters involving Rick Perry, who is the Texas governor and one of the favourites, basically, to get the Republican Party nomination for the presidential election next year in the US. So he's put ads up around the country saying, have you had a gay or straight sexual encounter with Governor Rick Perry? And that's, I suppose, because Rick Perry and the Republican Party generally, when it comes to, I suppose, morality, they think that they have the upper ground on the Democrats. So he's perhaps looking to expose a degree of hypocrisy there, if it exists at all. And so Flynt said recently, politicians have one thing in common. They have huge egos, and these egos are fed through their sexual conquests, and that's what gets them in trouble. What I think is interesting is Rick Perry's ego is very evident in his latest TV ad, which I think portrays him as some sort of godlike figure. Let's take a look at how that ad ends, actually.
A great country requires a better direction. A renewed nation needs a new president. The United States of America really is the last great hope of mankind. I believe in America. I believe in her purpose and her promise. I believe her best days have not yet been lived. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
All right, I think they're pretty incredible pictures.
Pretty rousing stuff,
It's God coming down from heaven on a cloud to save the United States. And actually, if he's the godlike figure, who is, the figure of evil, the figure to be, a finger of blame to be pointed at? I think
you can only guess.
You can only guess. Well, let's have a look at how he does that.
Despite all the naysayers who are predicting failure, our economy is growing again.
0 jobs. Not a single job being added.
No jobs created. Zero. People are demoralized. What has happened? 0 new jobs.
Change has come to America.
President zero.
1 in 6 Americans.
So President Zero, Obama is President Zero. So there you go. That's just a quick look at American politics right now. And as we're in the US, I'd like to show you this as well, Georgia. This is in Gawker. We also, one of the big stories of the week was the death penalty in the US and the way in which the Troy Davis story captured the imagination of the public around the world and mobilized so many people. Well, actually, the same day that he was put to death, in Texas, another man was put to death by the name of Lawrence Brewer. And since then, they've decided to do away with the last meal request that death row inmates are allowed to have. Apparently, Mr. Brewer asked for 2 fried chicken steaks, a triple meat bacon cheeseburger, a cheese omelette, a large bowl of fried okra, 3 fajitas, a pint of Blue Bell ice cream, and a pound of barbecue with half a loaf of white bread. And if it's your last meal, I think you're allowed to go all out, really, even if you don't eat it all. But one senator by the name of John Whitmire said that this is overly extravagant and asked for this practice to be ended immediately, which apparently it will be. So there you go.
You think if you're going to take someone's life, you could at least splash out on some blueberry ice cream.
Give them a nice meal beforehand, right? So there you go. And I suppose the Murdoch story, that's another one that is coming back again and again in the media at the moment. Andy Coulson, he was a former spin doctor in 10 Downing Street. He's going to sue News Group International over legal fees. This is another bizarre twist in the story. He was a former editor of the News of the World. This is the big Murdoch scandal that shook the UK a few months back. It's also moved over to the US, and we're finding out in the US that there's a possible class action that could now be taken by families of the 9/11 victims, who apparently the Murdoch press listened in on illegally. And yes, so it is a story that's beginning to crop up in the media again, and we'll have to, I suppose, keep a close eye on how that develops and how the Murdoch media industry will be affected.
Well, thanks very much for that roundup, James, with Media Watch.
Thanks, Georgia.